Hello and welcome to Edupedia world. So now let's take a look at how you can use tracking, how you can use the basic 2D tracker in After Effects. So to show this, I created this quick project, and as you can see, it's a shot of a Jack Daniel's whiskey and some text is showing up and it's following the Jack Daniel's bottle. So let's take a look at how this is done. So let's first go into our project folder and find the video. This is the video that I want to use. Drop it onto the new composition button, and then we get this composition. I'll just rename this to Jack Daniel's tutorial. There we go. So this is the raw video that we have to work with. I'll just cut the video around here, press N, and then trim to comp size or whatever. Oh, sorry, trim to work area. Isn't that what it says? Trim comp to work area. Yeah, that's what I pressed. So we want After Effects to track this bottle, and since we're using the 2D tracker, we want whatever we are tracking to always be in the frame. And I am planning to track this Tennessee logo here. So if we just right click on this, and I'll actually call this footage. Right click on this and say track motion. Then we will go into the layer tab up here, and as you can see, the tracker options has appeared, and also the timeline here has appeared. And in the middle we have this small box, and it says track point 1. This is one of our track points, and right now we are only tracking the position, because if you look down here it says position. There's also an option for rotation and scale. So let's try and just pick this little position right here. So the small box says whatever is inside of this box is what we want to track. And this box is the search area. So when it goes on to the next frame, like this, then the tracker says, or then the tracker knows that, okay, this pattern that's inside this box will be in this box out here, so I can search in this area. So if you make this really large, then the tracker has a lot of space to search in. That can be good if if it moves a lot. But if this pattern is repeated somewhere else, then the tracker might jump to that point. So that's a disadvantage of having a large search area, and also having a large search area takes a lot of processing power from your computer, and that means the tracking will be very slow. So I'll just track this little point right here. It's very unique, and then I'll create a pretty small box around it. And then I can just press this button to track one frame forward. And if I look, then this is perfectly tracked. And I can also press this button to just analyze forwards. And as you can see, the tracker managed to stay perfectly on the spot. So let's just go back to where we started, and then analyze backwards, because we were in the middle. So as you can see now, this tracker follows the point. So you can see the track point is exactly on the point we wanted to track. So we can create a null object, new null object, or use the shortcut Control Shift Alt Y. I always use that, and then I will call this data. And we will go over to our tracking settings, and then we will edit the target. So That means the position data that the tracker has created for us, we want to apply that to one of these layers, because right now it's not doing anything, we can't use it. So we want to edit the target for where we want this data to be put onto. So I'll say I want to apply it to my layer called data, and then I'll just hit apply, and I will apply it to X and Y. And then as you can see, our null object, which is this guy right here, will now follow the little weird quad on the bottle. So you can see it's perfectly tracked. We can now create some text, so do Control T and then click somewhere, and I'll just type in Jack Daniels. Control Enter, and then use press V to get the move tool, and then we can move this wherever we want. So I'll just put it right here. And as you may remember from the animation course lesson chapter, from the animation chapter, I told you about parenting. So what I want to do is take this text layer called Jack Daniels and then parent it to this null object. So if I just drag this onto data, then this will be set as the parent for this layer. And what that means is that the scale, position, rotation settings from this layer will be put onto this layer as well. So if we preview this, you can see that Jack Daniels text is now moving along with this point. Let's just turn off the audio. So it's now moving along. So that's a way of just doing position tracking, but slight rotations in the camera that I used to shoot this makes it so that the track doesn't look perfect, and also if I move close, then the scale doesn't change. So let's just try and remove these really quickly and try and track scale and rotation as well. So I'll do track motion again, and here I have my first tracking point. I will place this on the same object over here, on the same pattern, but then in these tracking settings, I will enable rotation and scale as well. And as you'll see, a new track point has been added called track point 2, and that's because in order for the computer to know how this rotates, then it has to know two positions, because just one position doesn't tell anything, it's just a position. But if you have two positions, then you can see, okay, if this position suddenly went up here, then the object must have rotated this direction to the left. So when you have two track points, the tracker will know the rotation. And also, if the points suddenly move closer together, then that means the object must have gotten smaller, and that means the scale has to be changed. So right now we are ready to start tracking, so I'll just analyze forwards and go back to where we started, which is here, and then analyze backwards. And tracking doesn't always go this smoothly, but since we have very nice contrast and textures on this bottle, then it's very easy to do. So as you can see, we now have perfect tracking data. This is very nice. We can again create our null and call it data, edit the target to data, and apply the X and Y positions. And as you can see now, the position, scale, and rotation parameters for this layer have been keyframed. It basically creates a keyframe for each frame, and that means this will now be level with the bottle, and that just makes our text move along with the bottle even nicer. So if we want to recreate what I made, then we will take this Jack Daniels, and then from my animation course, you'll know how to animate the scale, so I'll just do this pretty quickly. And then move to around here and here, and then there we go. And then our Jack Daniels should move along. Of course, it won't move with the bottle just yet because I forgot to parent it. So again, put it to data as the parent, and when we preview this, Jack Daniels now moves along perfectly with the bottle. And we can take this layer, Control D, move upwards while holding Shift, and it will move perfectly. Move like only the Y position. If we double click and type in Wish key, Control Enter, and take these keyframes and move them along just a bit, then we will have the same animation as I made for the example. So Jack Daniels whiskey, and this is just using the normal 2D tracker. We can get some pretty cool, almost 3D like animations, and this was done in less than, I would say, 5 minutes. I could probably have done it like 3 minutes, and yeah, so that's how 2D tracking can be used. Now let's take a look at how we can use this to add some lens flares to the headlights of a moving car. Thank you for watching Edupedia World. Stay tuned for more videos.